What are your thoughts on MLW releasing Teddy Hart? And if he didn't have all of his personal issues, do you think Hart could have ever been a main event level talent in the WWE?
Oh, well, first of all, and I do not have any idea of what led to the things that I read the story of Teddy he had no-showed an appearance here a while back. He'd been late some other times, but that's what was in the story and on the website. I don't have any firsthand experience. When I was there, apart from everybody knowing that Teddy's different, the story was, boy, Teddy has really, he's turned things around as far as he's here and he's working hard. And, he's a tremendous athlete in the ring, but everything I was hearing about him outside the ring was pretty positive over the summer. So I don't know, but at the same time, the article did list a few instances where I guess it was the show in Mexico he didn't make. And, once again, I can't really fucking yell at anybody for not going to a show. And I would not go to a show in Mexico if I were me, from the things I've heard about going to Mexico. And I don't like to cross borders anyway. It being late for promos and etc. Okay, that's not a major thing. There probably is something else going on. Yeah. But between Teddy and MLW or vice versa, and I would assume that this is a mutual thing. And I believe I even heard that Teddy had maybe even asked for the release. I don't know. So I don't know the fucking issues. All I can say is, they were digging him. He has had a history, even more so than myself, imagine that, of popping in and out of places. And he's done some things that he's admitted in the past. He was his own worst enemy and didn't help his cause out any. Would he have ever been a main event guy in the WWF? I don't want to say no because of his physical talent. And if he'd had a different personality, shall we say, then he certainly, because he's a member of the Hart family, would have gotten the opportunity to, and basically as what he did, he had some opportunities and he didn't make the most of them. But would he have ever been a main event guy just because of his size, and the way Vince is? I don't know. I think now if he came along and he was 20 years younger, they'd be a whole lot more willing to put him in a main event spot than 20 years ago. I would think you would concur with that, right?
Yeah, I mean, when he first got there, he was one of the guys in the Funking Dojo, right?
He was. It wasn't like he was just there all the time in the Funkin' Dojo.
No.
They did like week-long camps, and he came a couple times. Yeah.
Because, I mean, the first time I remember ever reading about him was in the Observer, that I guess it was maybe a show in Calgary where the intermission or something was him and I don't even think it was Harry. I think it was
BJ Annis.
Yeah. It was BJ Annis, and they were in the ring as like kids doing flips and all sorts of high spots no one else on the card was able to do. And a lot of people were predicting big things for him. And, I obviously think.
Well, and of course, as we know, it's not just the flips. But yes, I mean, Teddy's wrestling is good. Teddy's work is good. From a psychological standpoint, sometimes everything doesn't register to me to make perfect sense. But as far as his performance moves, and he knows how to mat wrestle, and he knows how to fly, and he knows how to do spots, and he can perform these things, be relatively safe about it, even though they're dangerous looking. And I think I mentioned over the summer, but they were doing a broken rib gimmick with him, and holy shit, he was selling really good, which is something that I'd not seen him do a lot of in the past. So he can do the things. Sometimes I think it is a problem, especially, the match, I guess he had at the Dallas taping, which I had watched that on television, even though I wasn't there. And he just sometimes goes off and does the things that he wants to do that he thinks would be good, that maybe everybody doesn't agree with him on. But anyway, I don't know. We were cool at the tapings and had fun talking to each other, and I hate to knock him, but at the same time, I don't want to knock MLW, but goddamn, I see a pattern where a lot of people have done the revolving door thing this year. I'm not talking about me. I was not supposed to be there long term, but who's the fucking guy that was the fat oily guy on the writer.
Chris DeJoseph.
Chris DeJoseph. They announced that he's coming in to be an executive producer or whatever, and 4 weeks later they announced that he's leaving to go join the WWE. And I've never met the guy. I guess Court knew him and worked with him from the WWE before, but fuck that right there. I don't get how that can happen, because especially if I was going to work for a friend of mine and I said, okay, and I took this job and we announced it, then I'm not still going to be talking to other fucking people that would prevent me from doing that job that I've just promised my friend that I would do and publicly announced that I would do. But he did, and he's going to, okay, we'll see you later. It's been a great month. What the fuck?
Well, you heard about the latest ACH stuff.
If he didn't want, well, hold on. But if the guy didn't want to stay there, or if he was, do you just get a WWF job in a month from scratch? If he was still talking to him, they shouldn't have announced it, that he was going to MLW. If he still had another option somewhere he would take, it was very unprofessional all the way around. And if the WWF called him up and on the spur of the moment, and they had just made that announcement, I believe, because especially if Court or anybody was a friend of mine that was running the thing, I would have to say, well, okay, let's work out, 90 days something, because I've just started with this thing. I'm going to get it, whatever the fuck, instead of just saying, okay, see you later. And I don't get that whole thing. I do get it, because people, well, they're paying more money. Well, fuck you. You gave your word to do something, and I don't get that.
Well, sometimes it seems to me like sometimes MLW just issues press releases to issue press releases.
Well, a lot of people come, but they only mention that Teddy and DeJoseph were going. So I don't know.
Well, did you hear about ACH? The last time we spoke about him, he was 40 miles.
Yes. I quit wrestling. Fuck all you guys.
And they had just announced him. MLW had just announced he was coming in, and then he announces, fuck all the fans. You pricks ruin everything. I quit.
But now, why was he mad at the fans? Because he was mad at the fucking promoters last month. And when did he get mad at the fans?
I don't know. I think it's becoming, at least to my eyes, it seems like maybe ACH needs to work on himself and not worry about the wrestling business right now. I don't know the guy, but
I never met him either.
Obviously a very talented guy, and obviously, he may need to work on himself right now.
Yeah.
This may be for the best.
But I tell you, if I was MLW and I just brought a guy in and fucking debuted him and fucking put him on all the shit going forward and put him over on television and made a big announcement and he decided he's going to retire, I would call Stephen P. New and I would sue him to make him wrestle again so that I could fire him. That's what I'd do.
It's a very Buddy Rich way of doing things.
Yeah.